Well, good afternoon from southern New Mexico, West Texas. Today, we're going to talk about mulch. Now, why do we want to talk about mulch? Because it holds moisture in the soil. So, let's get started here.
Welcome to Doug's Urban Garden.
Okay, so let's talk about these mulch, the different kinds of mulches. There's several kinds of mulches. And why do we want to mulch? We mulch to hold moisture in the soil. We live here in southern New Mexico, West Texas, the largest desert in the United States. It's called the Chihuahuan Desert. Now, I know I'm going to get comments that I mispronounced it. So I'm going to spell it for you so you can pronounce it yourself and let me know how bad I butchered this name. Let me get my cheat sheet out here. Okay, the desert name is Chihuahuan. And I think it's pronounced Chihuahuan Desert. It's the largest desert in the United States. It takes up southern New Mexico, West Texas, Arizona, and part of California. So we're going to mulch to keep moisture in the soil because we live in this desert. So what kind of mulch can we use? There's several kinds. Okay, let's talk about the standard mulch. There's two kinds of standard mulch that everybody buys, every big box store carries, every garden supply place carries. And that is right here, this is chopped pine mulch. As you can see, it's large pieces and it comes in two colors, red or brown. And some stores carry a black, but the black is not a big mover, so not every store will carry it. The other one is pine mulch that has been shredded. As you can see, it's been shredded into a fine, almost straw-like condition. And it comes also in brown and red. Now, there's other kinds of mulch. Some people like pine bark mulch. It comes in two sizes. It comes in a regular size, which is medium. Oh, flower, we don't need that. Comes in a regular size called medium bark and the larger pieces. They put it around their plants and shrubs to hold moisture into the soil. Now there's another mulch, cedar mulch. This is made from cedar trees. It's been shredded and you get some large pieces, some chopped in there. Now, some people like this because the cedar helps repel insects. So there is an advantage. Then we talked about this in a video some months ago on mulching. And when you buy a bag of cow manure, you're going to get some mulch in it. And I screen it out in that video, the scoop on the poop. You'll see where I've taken and sifted out the mulch that's in there. This has some advantages. When you use this on your not your vegetables, but your plants, the manure is still permeated in the wood. So as you water it, you get manure going down into the soil, which helps. Now, all of these do a great job on holding moisture in the soil. The mulch also helps the soil stay cool. During the summer, the mulch can help your soil stay 8 to 10 degrees cooler. And during the winter, it'll help to keep your soil warm. Now, that's all the advantages. We talked about the disadvantages back in the composting video. Your mulch, when you put it out on top of the soil, does a thing called nitrogen draw down. What happens is this mulch will take and absorb the nitrogen that the microorganisms in the soil need to break down the wood. So for the first top 4 to 6 inches of your soil, your nitrogen level has been depleted because you have all this mulch, wood, that's sucking up the nitrogen and utilizing it because the microorganisms need it to break down the wood. Now, once the wood breaks down in 2-3 years, it will release the nitrogen and the nutrients back into the soil. So that's a disadvantage. Another disadvantage is you do not want, I do not recommend it, putting this wood mulch around your vegetables. Trees, shrubs, fine, because your roots are deep, maybe 12, 14 inches deep. But your vegetables, the roots are shallow, 4 or 6 inches. So you're pulling out the nitrogen from the soil that your plants need, and so your vegetables are going to be nitrogen starved. Now, what kind of mulch can you use? Let's go back over here. For your vegetables, let's use a mulch that doesn't have as much nitrogen drain down as the wood pieces. You can use pine needles. We talked about that again in the mulching video. Pine needles, everybody says, oh no, I don't want to use pine needles. They acidify your soil. They are acidic when they're on the tree. Once they fall off and they're dry, they are neutral. So using them as far as a mulch around your vegetables, your shrubs, no problem. Also, my favorite mulch for my vegetables is leaves, because they're light, they lay on top of the soil, very little nitrogen drawdown. They'll break down very quickly and release the nutrients back into the soil at a much faster rate than the pine or wood mulch. Now, another mulch a lot of people use for their vegetables is straw. Now, the straw can come from either, and most times it comes from either wheat or barley. Now, there could be a problem. If you can get organic straw from wheat, barley, oats that have been grown organically, that's the best. Here's an opportunity to take into consideration. If the wheat or the barley has been sprayed during the growing process with a herbicide, that herbicide could be in the straw. So as you use it to put down on your vegetables, then that herbicide could leach out into the soil and have an effect on your vegetables. There is a video we made about failure on garlic and onions, and I put this straw down, and it could have, there's no way I'll know unless I test it, but it could have send the straw out to a lab. It could have had a herbicide in it, and it killed the garlic and onion. But I don't know that for 100% fact. I'm speculating. So I let you do your own research. Now, there's another mulch that's become very popular, and this is rubber mulch. This is made, it's eco-friendly because it's made from used tires. They take the tires, pull out the steel belting, and chop it. These pieces, it comes in either brown or red. And the cities, municipalities are using it a lot for the parks and the school, because if the children fall down, they don't get splinters in their knees. It's rubber. They just, as the expression goes, they just bounce right back. Now, wood mulch, pine needles, straw, leaves, there's a disadvantage, and people complain about it all the time, that the wind will blow it away. If your backyard gets a lot of water from a rainstorm, it floats and it can wash away, and you're going to end up replacing it. So there's a solution. There's a new product, it's relatively new, called Mulch glue. And what you do is it comes in a gallon. You can buy it at some stores carry it. You may have to go online to get it, but it comes in a gallon bottle. You mix it with warm water, put it in a pump sprayer, and after you put down your mulch, you spray it, and it essentially glues it together. It holds it together. Now, a lot of people say, okay, what's the environmental impact? Well, the environmental impact is the University of Illinois is doing a study. It's not completed yet from the information I have found out. They're doing an environmental study to see what chemicals in that glue is leaching out into the soil and into the groundwater. Talking about the groundwater and the soil, the rubber mulch. Okay, it's made from tires. Now, there's been research done, and it has its advantage due to the fact that it's heavier and it's not made out of wood. Then it doesn't float when you get rain in your or water in your yard, and the wind doesn't blow it away, not to the extent that the lightweight wood does. But the environmental impact, let me put on my eyeballs. The environmental impact is there can be leaching from this material into your soil and groundwater. Excuse me. And the heavy metals, I got my cheat sheet here. The heavy metals could be lead, zinc, cadmium, chromium, mercury, and nickel. So these are things that you need to do your own research on and see which one you want. Okay, there's one, because we live in a desert and not very many people in my neighborhood have grass, I couldn't get a sample of grass. But a lot of people use their grass clippings to mulch around their shrubs. Another concern, if your grass, whether you get it from your lawn or your neighbor's lawn, or you just drive down the street and see a couple of bags of grass clippings by the sidewalk, curb, with the trash man, if they have used weed and feed, now, the chemical in weed and feed is also absorbed in the grass. So it's a herbicide. And the herbicide chemical kills broadleaf weeds. But it doesn't know the difference between broadleaf weeds and your broadleaf vegetables. So I caution you, and this again, do your research like I do and see what you want to do. Now, if you're putting it on shrubs, you'll probably be okay. Around vegetables, it may leach enough of the chemical that will kill the broadleaf weeds to affect your vegetables. So I don't recommend it for vegetables. Shrubs, when I lived in Dallas, I put it around in my shrubs all the time, no problem. But of course, I had St. Augustine grass, and you cannot put weed and feed on St. Augustine because St. Augustine is a broadleaf grass, and weed and feed will kill St. Augustine. So these are the different kinds of mulches. You have your pine chopped, shredded. You have your cedar mulch. You have your pine bark mulch. My favorite, because it's free, is mulch from the manure that I buy, and rubber mulch, pine needles, leaves, and straw. You can use any or all, but like I've said before, do your research. The internet is full of information on all the pluses and minuses. I've just given you a few that I have found and discovered on my own, sometimes by failures. But we all learn from our failures. That's what makes us grow mentally and in our garden. I wish we had the old farmers that we could just sit around and talk to and learn everything that they've learned over decades of farming. But we have the internet now. You can go on to different universities and they do the research for us. But there we go. Once again, from southern New Mexico, West Texas, the desert, we're trying to help everybody here in this area grow vegetables because the cost at the grocery store is going up, and with the farmers not being able to get enough labor to help harvest crops, there may be, I'm saying this, I hope not, but there may be some shortages at the grocery store of your favorite vegetable. So whether you grow a few vegetables on your balcony, your back patio, your yard, in a pot, or in a raised bed or a raised bed like these are, get the kids involved. We're going to do a video on getting the kids involved in planting. It's a great thing for them to take responsibility for some plants. And we're going to do a video on what we call zero landscaping, where in the desert, we have limited amount of water. And so let's plant vegetables and things that we can utilize, but reduce our water usage. So once again, thank you very much. Have a great day from southern New Mexico, West Texas.
Thanks for coming by, and happy gardening!